What are your thoughts on parallel universes? I find it hilarious that most stories are about parallel universes caused by someone taking one path or another, and not about the uncountable and effectively identical parallel worlds caused by particles scooting off one way instead of another. You could be switching between parallel universes every time you blinked and you'd never know. It's where all the lost socks go. Edit. For those of you wondering where this idea comes from, it's from my grandmother who used to say this whenever looking for lost pacifiers. I swear those pacifiers ends up in a parallel universe. She sadly passed away, but I will continue this conversation with her someday, in this universe or another. To answer that, we need to talk about parallel universes. Probably likely, but who knows? The more we seem to learn, the more abstract reality seems to become. I prefer intersections. I hope parallel me is doing better. Could be. But I personally don't think humanity will find out before we destroy ourselves, lol. Mostly only useful for Mario speedruns. There are easier ways to speedrun Mario 64. I hate how they're all exactly like our universe but with one tiny difference. Realistically, even with an infinite number of universes, you'd have a tough time finding another universe that featured you without being exactly 100% like this universe. If there are tiny changes, they would have changed it to a much bigger degree over the 10+ billion years. They are much more difficult to pull off than parallel parking. At least one of me believes in them. Out of this world. Wow, so is there an infinite number of parallel universes? No, just the two. It provides a theory on the fine-tuning of the gravity constant of our universe and life on Earth, where the state of gravity is so precise, not too weak or strong, that it allowed the formation of galaxies, stars, planets, moons, and ultimately us, the strangest fucking thing in the universe it appears. Some say this supposed fine-tuning is evidence of a creator, perhaps even if not necessarily rooted in a god, though it's usually implied. However, multiple universes provides a theory which states that there are infinite universes with varying degrees of the gravity constant. We just happen to be in that Goldilocks zone which allowed the creation of all the celestial elements, so we can exist in the Goldilocks zone of our galaxy, solar system, and Earth. Life appears to be that precise for existence based on our observation of the universe that an infinite and multiple universe theory could explain that. Also, it doesn't dismiss creator theory entirely. If infinite universe exists, then there could be one where creators are present to create the infinite universe, for example *maybe*. I think it's neat that there's a parallel universe where Nintendo kept up with classic Paper Mario games. The point-line plane postulate is the most intuitive approach I've found to this kind of question, since it starts with a really simple breakdown of dimensions and builds from there. We're all pretty familiar with the first three dimensions, length, width, and depth, which make up 3D space. Time, duration is next logical step up as the fourth dimension, which makes phrases like, "he's playing 4D chess" kind of ironic. Every physical game of chess is 4D because it uses 3D pieces over a period of time. It goes up to 10 dimensions, and shit gets pretty wild pretty fast after the fourth. This involves parallel universes, different timelines, different Big Bangs, etc. Couple good vids on it if you're interested. Note that this is all theoretical physics, and there are other models. This is just the one I've personally found the most intuitive. Part 1. https://www.youtube.com/watch?v=jkxes-6 wua . Part 2. https://www.youtube.com/watch?v=esbmsb80 . It's comforting to me that some version of me somewhere is thriving. Good for them. var __ first comment loaded equals false. Function __ mark first comment visible. If __ first comment loaded, return __ first comment loaded equals true. __ perf first comment loaded ***. What is happening to the simula *** less than script greater than __ perf adds __ dot underscore JS, underscore fetch, underscore start, less than, script greater than less than script src equals, https://www.redditstatic.com path:/desktop2x/js/zads.js, greater than less than, script greater than script greater than asterisk asterisk sorry Mr. Musk. Spilt some coffee on the keyboard. Everything is back to normal now. Those simpleton Redditors don't suspect a thing. Asterisk asterisk. But first, we need to talk about parallel univ. More likely than time travel, but less likely than sentient aliens existing. I don't get why the general consensus is that we live in the so-called normal universe, like, we might be living in a strange parallel and not knowing it. Just something to think about. Don't like them. I don't look good in a goatee. It will never intersect with this universe. I hate the me who actually successfully asked out my crush. Don't know or care until it can make testable predictions. I'd probably look better as a girl. I figure I'm the bad version and there are infinite better version of me. Sliders was such a good show. All my thoughts on them occur simultaneously. It doesn't surprise me that of all the theories of existence, we pick the ones where humans' choice is the critical factor in creating parallel worlds. I honestly don't think humanity matters as much as we like to think it does. I'm not ruling out parallel worlds per se, but I think it's pretty arrogant to put human choice at the center of it all. Do you think there are infinite universes? Just pure speculation on my part. However, it'd make some sense that how universes are formed is via black holes. As in each black hole is its own universe. Hear me out. 1. A black hole is always expanding, just as our universe is always expanding. 2. Supports the Big Bang theory, more or less. 3. Supports the Horton-Hears a Who theory of infinitely smaller universes as we too have black holes in our universe. 4. Keeps each universe separate via not being able to get out, or into another universes. 5. Expansion of our universe is faster than speed of light, which means no light or matter can escape, so our universe would be a black to outside observers of our universe looking in. 6. Follows rules of why expansion is speeding up, not slowing down. As black holes get bigger they attract more mass. 7. Due to how gravity affects spacetime, it would also have its own significantly slowed down time in its parent universe, kind of like the movie Inception. IDK just some loose theory. I am sure someone else smarter came up with this theory before me or already debunked it. They're fine as long as you don't steal your sick kid from the other universe. There are other worlds than these. We can forever travel in a straight line and our paths will never cross. As an atheist, I embrace it as a scientifically possible way for an afterlife. If there are infinite universes with infinite possibilities, there's one where my dad is still alive and a version of me enjoying his presence in my life. It's a bit like heaven. We need them to answer how Mario came back after defeating Darkon. I like the theory that since 2012 and CERN starting in earnest we branched out into a new multiverse and this is the shit one. Feels like everything's been slowly degrading since 2012, doesn't it? I call it bullshit, but it's great for movies. There's one where I don't answer this question. One word. Meanwhile. Hope they exist just so I know there's a better me out there. I used to wonder how I could get to one with better chances for me. Now I wonder if I am the version that made the best of it, like, this is as good as it gets. An A press is an A press. I am sure I am successful in at least one of them. I hope. The thought that there's a theoretical identical me out there somewhere doing even worse than I am makes me very sad. I never liked them as a kid because you can make friends there but it takes a lot to come back. There's a bunch of theoretical research that points to it being likely, but with every new discovery about the unknowns of physics we basically upend our previous understanding of a lot of things. With theoretical physics, it's quite specifically all speculation. Now, we have some very well-educated theoretical physicists, not you Mr. Tyson, who are able to make incredibly well-educated guesses, but they are still further from being proven than anything else in science. Some more recent theories think that while there may be a sort of multiverse in some extent, it's not what popular media presents it as, and it's certainly not like Marvel, DC, or Rick and Morty where any and all possibilities exist somewhere. There are just a lot of things that are less likely to happen in any given cascade effect, and the butterfly effect is largely exaggerated in effect even were time travel to exist in that sort of a context. While a true multiverse doesn't appear to exist in Marvel, just a lot of branching timelines, Loki references the futility of certain actions by noting that there are a number of routine historical events in which very little that happens for a significant period of time matters to a given timeline if everything there is about to be destroyed. Ultimately, I think too much is unknown to have any kind of firm opinion, but I am fairly sure a lot of the experiments at CERN or on space stations which seek to test conditions further away from Earth's influences are done with the goal of testing how much we know about physics as real versus just a misguided assumption. A pet peeve of mine is when fiction calls it alternative dimensions. Dimensions does not equal multiverse, they're different things. I believe that if they exist, they can't be infinite. If you want, I can explain why. It makes me sad that in another universe there's a me that isn't depressed and has a will to live. I would gladly switch places. Until proven, it's just another theory. Very possible. My thoughts on it never align. Maybe there's one where I'm happier. I could be in a parallel universe already without me knowing, since they are parallel with the universe I'm from. It's hard to imagine, but they still could exist. I believe they exist, but that there is no way to access them. I believe there's a parallel out there where I'm still with my ex, a parallel out there where I never made a Reddit, a parallel out there where COVID was eradicated in the first week, etc. Every choice we make and every consequence of that choice causes a new parallel to branch off with a different result. Depends on your definition of parallel universe. If you mean another universe outside of our own, then I think it's decently likely and would be cool to possibly discover. If you mean a universe exactly like ours but slightly off, you have a beard now instead of being clean shaven, then I think it's extremely unlikely. I mean, they're cool, but I like the perpendicular ones better. I believe in them, but I don't believe in reality shifting. But Mandela effect is a little complicated. Don't contact yourself from another universe. Every time I almost die, I assume reality has forked. I did die, but I will live forever via quantum immortality. I don't believe in them, tbh. Do your own TVA homework, Loki. That show with J.K. Simmons really did a good job showing what alternative universe was like. Slight differences because instead of X of you did Y and changed the outcome of something. I forgot who said this, but isn't it technically a paradox if an infinite universe exists? If there's an infinite amount of every possible parallel, there would be one or more universes where the infinite universe doesn't exist. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I know nothing about this type of thing and just heard someone argue it before. Every decision we think of creates another one. Basically, the universe is in our minds. Makes no sense to me except in fictional worlds. I have to believe they are real. I have to think other versions of us are out there and not driven entirely by greed. I like to think we live in one universe that never ends and it has like 100 trillion solar systems or something like that. An interesting physics quirk and great for fiction, but otherwise not something that occupies my mind. Whenever I think about them, I get a headache from thinking about it because I think about every single action I do. Another infinity parallel universes are created where I did something ever so slightly, i.e. while typing this, a parallel universe was created where I pushed the key a millimeter to the right of where I hit it in this universe. I had a job where I couldn't have facial hair. Left that job and grew facial hair. Trump was elected shortly after. This is truly the darkest timeline. Very little of this is at all comprehensible to anyone below the level of advanced God, and since it is now well established that all known gods came into existence a good 3/millionths of a second after the universe began rather than, as they usually claimed, the previous week, they already have a great deal of explaining to do as it is, and are therefore not available for comment on matters of deep physics at this time. You don't stand the remotest chance of understanding it. You can therefore say, what? And And even go cross-eyed and start to blither if you like without any fear of making a fool of yourself. The first thing to realize about parallel universes is that they are not parallel. It is also important to realize that they are not, strictly speaking, universes either, but it is easiest if you try and realize that a little later, after you've realized that everything you've realized up to that moment is not true. The reason they are not universes is that any given universe is not actually a thing as such, but is just a way of looking at what is technically known as the WSOGMM, or whole sort of general mishmash. The whole sort of general mishmash doesn't actually exist either, but is just the sum total of all the different ways there would be of looking at it if it did. I want to be able to use the power of the backwards long jump to enter the fifth parallel universe and finally speedrun the entire world Mario 64. I think they're real. I also think that if there are infinite alternate universes, statistically, anything you think of as real, in one of those universes. Ever heard of the infinite monkey theorem? There's a great book that explains the parallel universes theory called Something Deeply Hidden by Sean Carroll. In it, Carroll explains that parallel universes are directly predicted by the most basic formulation of quantum theory. Now there are many different proposed quantum theories that get rid of the proposition of parallel universes, but they become more complicated. And if you believe in the principle of Occam's razor, demand the simplest theory, you would conclude that parallel universes more likely than not exist. So take with that what you will. I personally believe that there are flaws to this particular quantum theory, and so I'm not sure that I believe in parallel universes, but I highly recommend reading Carroll's book for more information. Are they completely different than me? Like personality or gender or even race? Or is the parallel universe literally the opposite of us? As in, it doesn't exist? What counts as a parallel universe? Is a universe where a pebble gets moved different from one where it doesn't? If so, then there's an unfathomable number of parallel universes with so many different variables. That's pretty astounding to me. Thanks for watching. See you later.